Here's your host, Dennis Rimmer.
Here we are, another edition or version or recording of your Talking Books and Stuff podcast. Wendy Donawa, is that how we say it, Wendy?
It is, yeah.
Okay. She's with us from the Victoria area, Vancouver Island, west coast of Canada. And latest book, The Time of Falling Apart, is poems. First of all, let's talk about the book. Why this book? Why did it come out now? Is there something special about the timing, or was it just the time to do it?
Well, I think it's just the time to do it. I don't know if there would have been time not to do it, but I worked fairly hard and steadily, and then start sending the book out. And I was very lucky. I had it taken by quite quickly this time by Harbour Publishing, and I was thrilled by that because my mentor was Patrick Lane, and Harbour was his publisher.
Oh, good. So you sort of had not an in, but it was a happy coincidence.
Well, it was an inspiration.
Oh, good. And you're in Victoria, but apparently you were born there, and then you moved to Barbados. So
I did.
Why'd you go from the one island to another island?
Because I married a Barbadian.
Oh, okay. That would settle that. You were there for quite a while.
I was there for at least 36 years last time I figured it out.
And you had a varied career as a museum curator, an educator, things like that?
Yes, well, I arrived at Barbados when it was still a colony, and so I was there right at that time throughout the Caribbean where a lot of colonies were becoming independent nations. And quite early on, Barbados, in about 68 or 69, I forget which, became independent, and it was a really stimulating, exciting time to be in a brand new country with a very ebullient sense of possibilities. And so I'm very grateful to have had that experience.
That's good. So it's a happy part of your life, I guess you could say.
Well, it's the major part of my life. I've spent most of my adult life.
That's
so it
right.
has all the extremes of every sort, as a life does.
So have you always been a writer, or like right from you were in grade one, or did that come later for you?
I was always a reader.
Yeah.
I would say I was a fairly good student, and I was always a bookworm. I think I still came from that generation where women were not encouraged as girls to think beyond, what are you going to do with your life? And it wasn't until my art school teacher, whom I admired greatly, I was horsing around or something, and he said, "Wendy, you've got a head on your shoulders. What are you going to do with it?" And that has sort of followed me through many decades. And
Yeah.
And
so the gauntlet was thrown, as it were. You were challenged, and away you went.
Yeah.
Good. Okay. So, Wendy Donawa, the book is The Time of Falling Apart. It's not your first book of poems, though, is it?
No, it's my third.
Okay. When did the first one come out?
The first one came out in 2017.
Ah, okay. So,
And the next one in 21.
And this is so about 4 years apart. Is the next one in 4 years from now, maybe?
In my dreams, yes, I hope.
Okay. So, what kind of a writing schedule do you have? Is it steady, or is it intermittent or sporadic? How do you approach the task of writing?
All of the above sometimes. I have very well developed aspirations and intentions. It tends to go in a bit of a peak and trough. I
Okay.
produce quite a bit, and then I try, and there's really nothing worth keeping,
Uh-huh.
and I get discouraged. And I'm lucky that there always seems to be a good workshop or retreat to go to, which jump starts. And sort of once I get my teeth in it, I work pretty steadily.
So you think writers are their own not worst critics, but they're striving for perfection when sometimes good enough would be good enough?
Um, no.
No. Okay.
I do my best, and then I have friends who are poets, and we do some editing of each other's works. And when I've got a pile that's big enough to call a manuscript, I look for an editor, and and I still, sometimes a year later, I look at the book and say, "Oh, why did I do that line that way?" But I think, it's better than being overly satisfied with what you're doing.
Right. I know. Yep, I could tell. I know what you mean. So, when do you have time to kayak then?
I haven't kayaked for a couple of years now,
Oh, no.
and now my wrist is giving me a lot of trouble, and I keep thinking, I want you to get better so I can kayak. But I live right near the gorge, which is a waterway in from the bay around downtown Victoria,
Yeah.
and it was an old indigenous inland highway. Really, it goes up about 6 kilometers into the middle of the island, and it's a beautiful place to kayak because I'm not competitive. I'm sort of a calm day paddling along,
Oh, well,
but
nothing wrong with that.
yeah.
Yeah. So, you were in the Esquimalt area. I used to live in the Princess Patricia apartments on Esquimalt Road there.
Yeah. I know Esquimalt Road. I can't bring the Patricia apartments to
Well,
mind.
that was 1970, and it's still there, I think, because I went there again in 1980. It was still there, but maybe it's been torn down. It was a pretty sturdy, tall building just off of Esquimalt Road, so
Yeah.
on your way up there toward Naden. So there you go.
Well, I think you'd hardly recognize the city if you came again. There's been so much construction,
I
even year to
know.
year.
Yeah, we went out in 2018, and I didn't know where I was. Really. Friends of ours drove us around. I had no clue what was going on at all. And then that was the big blizzard that happened in 2018.
Oh yeah, yeah.
2 days after we got there, we went up north to Duncan and Nanaimo, and we got back, and a half hour later they closed the Malahat. So it's
That was good timing.
good timing. It's not my best memory of Victoria because I lived there for a number of years. But so other than the weather, what does the word poem, does that have a special meaning for you at all?
Poem? You mean in terms of inspiration of my surroundings here?
All that kind of stuff. Yeah, just does it mean something? Is there something about a poem that's completely different, of course, than any other form of writing, which it is, but why is it poetry that you like?
Oh yes. Well, a poem's an artifact. It is ordinary language has many other functions. I think the poem's function is to use language in a way that is more dense, more elusive,
Mm-hmm.
more focused, maybe more mysterious, and more beautiful.
Right.
In a way that something that, after all, we all know the sunrise is beautiful, but that sentence is not a poem.
No.
And yet poems are still written that make you go, I never thought of it that way.
Gotcha. I see. Yes. That's what. So is that what poetry does for you? Is illuminate thoughts and patterns and sights and sounds in a different way?
Yes, absolutely.
Do you prefer the term poet or writer to describe yourself?
Poet now.
Yeah.
I've always, I've always written, and then of course I was quite academic, so I wrote a lot of academic stuff. There wasn't, although there was a very exciting renaissance of literature in the Caribbean at that time, I felt far too shy about my own work, and it was just sort of a hobby. And it wasn't until I had been in Victoria a number of years that I came across or was introduced to Patrick Lane, who gave these very intense 4-day retreats where you were just writing and discussing writing the whole time. And it got me going. But it wasn't until I actually got a book published that I thought, this isn't a hobby. This is, my work now.
Gotcha, yeah. And so that's what led you to the 3 published books that you have now. And the one we're looking at is The Time of Falling Apart, Poems by Wendy Donawa. Why that title? Interesting title.
Well, there is a story behind that title. I don't have a good background academically in math or science, and so I'm afraid I use Google quite a lot to get basic facts straight. And my partner, I am now married to her in Victoria, was also an academic, and likes lobbing words at me. And she said, "Do you know what abscission is?" And I did not, and I Googled it, and it took me to an agricultural pamphlet of some sort, and talked about abscission as the process of when the plant receives less light, as in autumn.
Okay.
It sends out a message to its branches or its stems to block off the non-essential part of the plant so that water can't get through it and the resources are saved for the tree or the plant. And it finished saying, abscission is the time of falling apart.
Ah.
And it blew me away. I thought, that is absolutely what half my work seems to be about, that process.
Okay. Gotcha.
And so I wrote a poem, quite a long poem, called The Time of Falling Apart. And it was quite a, I guess, philosophical poem. And then when I finally had the great untidy pile of poems that I thought was time to be a manuscript, it's usually a whole battle finding the poem, and I thought, no, The Time of Falling Apart is perfect. It sort of covers
Yes.
that process, covers
Gotcha.
just about everything in the human condition.
Pretty much, because once we start, we're falling apart, and that's
Yeah, for sure.
sort of like why the leaves turn brown and fall off in the fall. So, right. So, what is You've got something unpacking the poem. What's that all about?
This is, I thought it might be useful for people that liked poetry, sort of in a way wondered what it was all about. Like, why is it that you like poetry? Or in the case of someone like me, a poem blows me away, and I think, well, how do they do that? And I want to pick it apart. And, any artifact has its structure and its construction and a way it can function. And so I took poems. I did it about once a month for a couple of years. A poem from a West Coast poet, and some of them were brand new poets who had never been published, and some of them were highly published, like Lorna Crozier did one.
Right.
And I would just write a very short, simple essay, sort of analyzing. I don't like that term,
Right.
but I tried not to make it dry, tried to make it accessible. The reason you're really liking this poem is because look what they're doing here and look what they're doing there. So I did that for a couple of years, and then I've been quite busy with with various things, but the whole process when you're finishing the book and then when it comes out is quite time consuming.
Right.
So I've sort of stepped back for now, but I enjoyed doing that, and people who were, of course I consulted them, but they all seemed quite pleased with the little essays.
Super. And an incident that popped out from the time of falling apart was your baby had to get a visa to come to Canada, something like that?
Yes. Yeah, that was the not fun part of it. It gave me a particular sympathy that I've always had, but for travelers that don't fit into a box.
Mm-hmm. And
I don't know if it's still the law, but that's how the Canadian, it never occurred to me that bringing my own child into my own country would be a problem.
No,
but
you
I
wouldn't think.
subsequently discovered a number of people that had happened to.
That's not nice. So my favorite was Lessons from the Silver Screen.
Yes, sometimes I'm tongue-in-cheek and a bit snarky.
Well, that's what makes it fun as well. So what are you working on now? Or just more poems and public speaking? You do a lot of public speaking?
Well, I have quite a few readings lined up.
Yep.
And I always enjoy that. So, there is a little spurt just after you publish, if you have done all your homework and contacted people and hope that they answer your queries. And then it tends to taper off in the coming year. So I'm hoping very much that I will have some kind of wonderful inspiration when all this is through. Right now, I can't say I've really produced very much in the last few months.
Well, you've been busy out there beating the drum, as it were.
Yeah, it sort of uses a different part of the brain.
Right. You have a website, I take it. Can you give us the website, please?
It's just wendydonawa.com.
And that's WENDYDONAWA.com.
Yeah.
Got it. .com. Okay. And one more question, Wendy, before we wrap it up. What's your favorite sandwich?
My favorite sandwich? Oh, you ask these hard, deep questions.
I know.
Okay. Bacon and tomato.
Oh, yes, I like that one too. So
yeah,
that's very good. Yep, bacon, tomato. Lettuce as well, or just the bacon and tomato?
Take it or leave it.
Okay.
Lettuce is not serious in a sandwich.
No, okay. All right. Wendy Donawa, the book is The Time of Falling Apart. Wonderful poems from Harbour House. Wendy, thank you very much for your time today.
Well, thank you so much for having me, Dennis.
Thank you for visiting with us today. This is Talking Books and Stuff with Dennis Rimmer. Contact him at dennis@talkingbooks.tk. Thank you, and may all the good news be yours. Oh, and don't forget to check out his book, The Great Canadian Notebook, available across Canada and at amazon.ca.